But I really wanted to come and have a conversation about this Hilaria Baldwin scandal, which I will very briefly recap and then tell you why it is actually incredibly socially and politically significant. So first and foremost, Hilaria Baldwin is the wife of Alec Baldwin. If you have been under a rock this week, she has come under a ton of fire because some internet sleuth, somebody from her past, basically called her out on an over 10-year grift pretending to be a woman from Mallorca, Spain, when in fact she is an extremely wealthy woman named Hillary from Massachusetts. Actually was raised in a $4 million home in Boston and did not grow up in Spain at all, even though she is saying that she spent some time on holiday in Spain. It's very clear that she has just literally been grifting. First and foremost, everybody hates Alec Baldwin. He's obviously an unstable psychopath who has spent the better half of the last 4 years mocking this nation, mocking our president. And prior to that, I don't understand how this man still has a career. He has been in a lot of trouble for his anger outbursts. He's had to take anger management courses, I think once over a parking spot, I believe, and another time calling his daughter, Ireland Baldwin, who has, respectfully stepped back from the public eye since the scandal, calling her a pig of some sort. So this is a guy who is unstable, who meets his second or third wife. Don't know the details there. And it is a girl, Hilaria Baldwin, but it turns out she actually changed her name to Hilaria Baldwin, pretended to be Spanish at their wedding. It's a really weird story. You should really look into the details and just look at all the clips that are being produced of her literally pretending that she forgot Spanish, she forgot English words like cucumber, and that would be just an implausible circumstance unless you were living in Spain for a very long time and spoke very little English. She has always lived in America her entire life. She is an American white girl, and people in her high school have now come forward and said it has been such a weird thing for them to watch a girl named Hillary that they all went to school with, who was apparently, by all accounts, a very nice girl, suddenly step into this persona over the last 10 years and pretend to be Spanish and pretend to be an immigrant. And you can watch clips of Alec Baldwin over the years saying that his wife is from Spain. They've named all of their kids incredibly Spanish names. And it turns out that her parents are white. And not only are they white, they are very, very American. Obviously, now the internet has grasped onto this story, and they have looked into the past. They've traced her father all the way back to the American Revolution, his family, and they've traced her mother back. Her family has lived in Massachusetts for like the last 4 generations. So this family is about as American as you get, a successful family, 2 professors. I believe 1 or 2 of them speaks at Harvard, and yet their daughter just randomly, when she met Alec Baldwin, decided to take on this persona of a Spanish woman and drop this weird accent in interviews, and it blew up all over the internet. Now, why am I talking about this scandal? Why is this scandal significant? We already know Hollywood people are crazy and delusional, and the idea of being an immigrant, I guess, could be desirable to anybody who is on the left. Of course, you're looking to make yourself seem cool and connected and earthy, and what better person to do that than the wife of a bad actor also getting caught up in a bad acting scandal. But, as I was watching the scandal play out, and I was laughing about this with my husband, who is actually an immigrant, he is from England, his accent is real, and we were talking about this and we were laughing about it, but then I sort of said to myself, the left is now trying to cancel her, and they keep using this idea of cultural appropriation, saying that it's wrong, that she has appropriated an immigrant, from Spain's life. She has completely made this up, taken on this persona, and it's wrong. And I agree. I think it's really wrong. I think it's delusional, and I think that the best thing for her to do is to apologize and to move forward. Maybe rename her kids. I don't know. I think it was honestly a funny story. In that we all kind of needed a break from the craziness that's been going on in our country, and this is just another level of crazy and delusion. But the question that I wanted to ask, we've seen this happen over and over again. It's a very new thing in the last 5 or so years, where people are completely fabricating their entire identities, right? So, for example, Rachel Dolezal came out and said, lived her life as a black woman and became the leader of an NAACP in some city. And then she got completely eviscerated for it. And once it was discovered that she was actually a white girl, she was, trying to make her hair look kinky and her skin look darker for years and was passing off as a black woman. And that was problematic. And I agree that that's problematic, and I agree that that is delusional. We have seen this case in the sense of, situational craziness. Jussie Smollett pretending that he was attacked by white people when in fact it never happened to him. He made up the story to garner sympathy. And we saw him being attacked. We see regularly, by the way, let the Kardashians throw their hair in some braids and you will see the left suddenly attack them and say, you're culturally appropriating. You're not allowed to wear your hair in braids or cornrows without attributing, I don't know, whoever was the first person who invented cornrows. They can't even style their hair without being accused of cultural appropriation and being told that it's wrong to appropriate from a culture without giving attribute to it. Obviously there are circumstances where people like Shaun King, white boy who's been pretending to be black his entire life and getting involved in black causes and making money off of black people, has appropriated being black as well. My question is pretty simple. Why does it matter? If we are now in a post-truth society, which we are in a post-truth society, why does it matter if Hilaria Baldwin pretends to be Spanish, if it doesn't matter when men are pretending to be women and women are pretending to be men? So in my opinion, the trans movement completely obliterates, every right that the left has when it comes to calling people out, for asking them to apologize, for cultural appropriation. You have now allowed men and women to completely appropriate genders. Right? You have said that these words have no meaning, that you can self-identify, that you can wake up one day and say you're a giraffe, that you can wake up one day and you can say that you're a man, and you can wake up one day. Why can't, under those absurd, crazy, insane rules that the left has created, why can't Hillary Thomas, I think is her real name, why can't Hillary Hayward Thomas wake up one day and decide to be Hilaria Baldwin? I mean, maybe she self-identifies as a Spanish person, right? If you're saying words have no meaning, why do you get to decide when they suddenly do? Why can't we all wake up one day? I mean, maybe I'm Japanese. Why can't Candace Owens just be Japanese? Why can't I just throw on a kimono and walk down the aisle in the similar style that Hilaria Baldwin did when she married Alec, and when she had a flamenco fan and said "sí" at her wedding vows? Why can't we all just jump into different cultures and pretend to be what we want? Why can't we say, you know what, Rachel Dolezal, you are stunning and you are brave for coming out as an internalized black person? Isn't that seem like the next natural frontier for the crazy that we've seen? I mean, what is the difference? If we are just a couple of weeks ago applauding the courage that it took for Ellen Page to come out as Elliot Page and to declare herself as a man, and so being a man has no meaning because you're saying anybody can wake up one day and just make that decision, right? It's just a psychological decision that you have to commit to. And you can just change the way you look, which apparently, as you can see with Hilaria Baldwin, she changed things about herself. She changed her accent. She got into the character of a Spanish person. Why isn't she Spanish now? I'm asking the left. This is a question for the left. You guys have created these crazy rules. I mean, I do not think men can be women. I don't think women can be men. I don't think Hilaria Baldwin can wake up one day and decide that geography is a social construct and pretend that she is from Spain. But you decided that. These are your rules. So why do some people get canceled and other people get called stunning and brave for doing the exact same thing? That same thing is called playing pretend. Because under any of these circumstances, you are playing pretend, right? You can wake up one day and you can decide to be a woman. You can go buy yourself some boobs, right? You can start taking hormones to try to make your voice lighter. At the end of the day, you're not a woman. You're playing pretend, right? You can put on a pretty dress, but you're not a woman, right? I'm a woman. I'm pregnant. I'm a woman because of biological realities, right? I'm a woman who was born in New York because of geographical realities. I was raised in Connecticut because of geographical realities, and I can acknowledge all of these things. And yet you stop short. You will eviscerate me if you found that any of that was to be a lie. You would go, look, Candace is a fraud. Candace is a liar. But if I woke up one day and started speaking with a deep voice and said, hey, my name's Michael, you would applaud me and call me stunning and brave? Where do we draw the line at delusions, right? What I am saying to the left is I'm calling you out on your bluff, right? Because you have created this post-truth society, right? If I have to be called a transphobe because you have allowed grown men to pretend that being a woman is nothing, to make womanhood obsolete, right? You want to cancel J.K. Rowling for telling you that there are biological realities that surround being a female. Biological realities that men will never understand. Men will never understand what it's like to menstruate, and never understand, what it's like to go through that phase as a woman, as a teenager. Men will never understand what it's like to suffer a miscarriage, right? Something that Ilaria or Hillary, whatever name she's going by today or tomorrow, she has been very vocal about going through a miscarriage, a very real experience that is tethered to womanhood, that women can talk about, right? Being pregnant right now, me 9 months pregnant, men will not ever be able to relate to that on a physical level. All of these things that are amazing, the miracle of being a woman, the miracle of being a man, things that women will never understand about manhood. You've made those things obsolete, right? So where do you draw the line? If you attacked Ilaria Baldwin, but you applauded every trans person that is stepping out and making these biological realities obsolete, if you attacked the young high school girls who had to file a lawsuit to protect themselves in sports against biological men stealing their records and stealing their scholastic opportunities, right? Stealing the scholarships that they have earned to go into college because their records are being shattered by biological men who are capable of much more physically, because that is a biological reality. Then guess what? You're not woke. You're a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite. I think it's all foolishness. And I wanted to just do a quick video to tell you guys that. And also to say that I miss you. I'm just waiting for my baby. Thank you. Only women can give birth. Bring back manly men.